It started like a scene from a movie, rain falling, a shadow in the alley, a scream slicing through the night. She thought she was going to die. And then he appeared, out of nowhere, strong and silent, and pulled her to safety. Her heart beat wildly, part from fear, part from the mystery of this quiet stranger. He stayed until the police arrived, his eyes never leaving hers. In that moment, Mia believed she had found her hero. But heroes don't always wear capes, and sometimes, they don't know when to walk away. What began as a rescue soon became something darker. He watched. He followed. He controlled. And before she could piece it all together, she realized she hadn't escaped the stalker at all. She had only traded one for another. This is a story of twisted protection, blurred lines, and the chilling transformation of savior into threat. Mia had always been cautious. Living in the city as a graphic designer, she kept her routines predictable and her circle small. But lately, strange things had begun happening. Texts from unknown numbers, footsteps behind her at night, the sense of always being watched. One evening, as she walked home from her studio, her fears came to life. A man emerged from the shadows, his face hidden, his intent clear. Panic rose in her throat. She turned to run, but her heels slipped on the wet pavement. Just as the man reached for her, another figure lunged forward. A fight broke out, grunts, fists, shouts. The attacker fled. Mia sat shaking, unable to process the fear and the relief. Her rescuer knelt beside her. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. She nodded. His name was Lucas. And from that night on, Mia believed he had saved her life. She had no idea what it would cost her. In the days that followed, Lucas kept in touch, at first just to check in, making sure Mia was okay. He brought coffee to her studio, offered to walk her home when it got dark. Mia, still shaken, welcomed his presence. He made her feel safe, and his quiet, thoughtful demeanor was a comfort. Lucas told her he was a freelance writer, said he'd been walking home from a cafe that night. Their connection deepened over conversations about art, books, and the haunting feeling of near death. For Mia, the gratitude turned into affection. For Lucas, it turned into something else entirely. Unseen by her, his apartment walls bore photos of Mia. Some she had posted online, some she hadn't. He kept her schedule memorized, noted who she spoke to, what she wore, where she smiled. What Mia thought was protection was slowly turning into possession. But the truth would surface only when it was too late. Weeks passed. The man who'd attacked Mia was never caught, but she no longer felt afraid. Lucas was always near, sometimes too near. He knew where she was even when she hadn't told him. "I just had a feeling," he would say, brushing it off. At first, Mia found it sweet. But things began to shift. Lucas grew distant when she spent time with others, especially her friend Daniel. He criticized her social media posts, told her certain outfits drew the wrong attention. "I just want to keep you safe," he'd whisper. One night, Mia mentioned a short weekend trip with her girlfriends. Lucas's eyes darkened. "Without telling me?" he said, barely hiding the edge in his voice. That night, she found her car tires slashed. The coincidence was impossible to ignore. Slowly, the veil lifted. Lucas wasn't her guardian, he was her prison. But confronting him meant risking everything again. Determined to reclaim her life, Mia began to distance herself. She blocked Lucas on her phone, stopped answering the door. But Lucas didn't give up easily. Notes appeared under her windshield wipers. Her favorite coffee sat outside her door, still hot. Once, she caught a glimpse of someone standing across the street at 2 a.m., motionless, watching. Fear clawed back into her days. When she went to the police, they sympathized but said, "He hasn't done anything illegal yet." Her friends urged her to leave the city for a while. Mia agreed, but before she could go, Lucas showed up at her studio. "I know you're afraid," he said, voice trembling. "But it's only because I care too much. No one else will protect you like I do." His words sent chills through her. This wasn't love. It wasn't concern. It was obsession. And she knew she had to act before he did something irreversible. Mia began documenting everything: texts, photos, her own observations. She set up security cameras and looped her best friend into her plan. She even changed her routine daily, hoping to shake him off. Then one night, after a long day, she entered her apartment and found a single rose on her pillow. Her doors had been locked. That was her final warning. With her evidence and fear bundled into a trembling voice, she returned to the police. This time, she got a restraining order. Lucas was furious. He called her selfish, ungrateful. "I saved you," he wrote in one message. "You owe me." But the order was enforced, and for a while, silence returned. Mia slept again. Her laughter came back. But part of her remained wary, as if her shadow had taken on a name. She never walked alone again, not out of fear, but out of memory. Months passed. Mia's life found its rhythm again. She started dating Daniel, and her art gained attention online. Still, Lucas's presence lingered like smoke after a fire, barely visible but hard to breathe through. She never saw him, but sometimes she swore she felt his gaze. Then, one evening, an anonymous package arrived. Inside was a sketch of her face, eerily accurate, with one line written below: "You were always safest with me." The police investigated, but the trail ran cold. Lucas had vanished. And yet, Mia understood, obsession doesn't always need proximity. Sometimes, it survives in silence. She moved again, changed her number, and learned to live with the unshakable feeling of being remembered by someone who refused to forget. The trauma didn't define her, but it shadowed her growth. And in her healing, she found strength, not from those who swore to protect her, but from standing up to the ones who crossed the line. Mia now speaks at local women's shelters, sharing her story not as a victim, but as someone who broke the cycle. Her message is clear: not all danger looks like danger at first. Sometimes, it wears a kind smile, carries your coffee, walks you home. She talks about red flags, possessiveness disguised as concern, jealousy cloaked in protection. She tells them about Lucas, not to scare, but to warn. Because love should never require surveillance. Kindness should never morph into control. Mia's journey is one of reclamation. She's no longer looking over her shoulder. She's walking forward, not because the fear is gone, but because she's stronger than it. And in every step, every speech, every brushstroke of her art, she's rewriting the narrative, not as someone who was stalked, but someone who saw the darkness and didn't let it win. As Lucas faded from her life, Mia sometimes found herself haunted by questions. Had he always been broken? Was the night he saved her truly selfless, or the start of a calculated game? But in the end, she stopped seeking answers. Because what mattered most was that she had found her voice again. Lucas didn't win. His obsession didn't define her future. The power he tried to hold over her dissolved the moment she stopped being afraid of it. Life didn't return to what it was before, it evolved. With scars came wisdom. With fear came strength. And with loss came clarity. Mia still locks her doors, still trusts her gut. But she doesn't hide. She lives, creates, speaks. Because no matter who watches, she knows the story now belongs to her. If Mia's story resonated with you, or made you think about someone in your life, don't stay silent. Share this video with friends. Start conversations about boundaries, red flags, and the difference between care and control. Too many people confuse obsession with love, and silence allows danger to grow. If you or someone you know is facing similar circumstances, seek support. There is strength in speaking up. And if you found this video moving or powerful, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps bring stories like Mia's to more people who might need to hear them. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment that matters. We share stories that reveal the beauty, pain, and complexity of real lives, because in every story, there's a lesson, a warning, and a flicker of hope. And hope, even in the darkest moments, is where healing begins. Until next time, stay kind, stay sharp, and stay curious.